Okay, we're learning about what a person needs to have bitachon, what a person needs to have trust in Hashem. V'akdama hashenis, the second thing a person needs. Sheyeda v'yizbar etzlo. It has to be clear to a person. Ki abar yizbarach mashkif alav. Hashem is always watching over him. Ve'enelo mimeno. Nothing is hidden from Hashem. Hashem knows everything. You know that Hashem knows everything. Niglehu v'nistaru utzvono v'nirehu. Things that are hidden in your heart, things that you don't even know about yourself, Hashem knows about you. Hashem knows everything you're thinking, knows what your real attitudes are, and we'll see why it's very important. Hashem knows if you have true bitachon. Hashem knows if you're one of those guys that just go around saying, oh, just have bitachon, paying it lip service, or if you actually really have bitachon. Kasher Amar Akasav, like the verse says in Tehillim, Hashem Yadea Machshavas Adam, Hashem knows the thoughts of people, Kihema Havel, because they are futile, like we learned, like we read yesterday, Hevel Havolim, everything is futile. But Amar, and it says, Halotochen Liba Suyavin, Hashem understands hearts, people's hearts. V'amar, it says, Ki ati yadati levadcha, only you know Hashem, it's levav kol b'nei Adam, you know the hearts of everybody. Ukashe yizbarer zelabotech, when someone who trusts in Hashem really understands that Hashem knows everything that's going on in my heart, in my thoughts, in my soul. A person can't go around saying that he's a Baal Bitachon, that he has trust in Hashem, and claim it if he really doesn't have it. You can't say that, because Hashem knows the truth. Hashem knows if we really have trust in Him or not. We can't fool Hashem. Can't fool Hashem, right?
Yeah.
Can't fool Hashem. Via b'mailis, nish nemar aleim, and it'll be like those that say on it, v'tiv usfasa, keep doing it with your mouths. You've honored me, v'libo richak mimeni, but your heart is far from me. I want to share something the Chazon Ish writes. The Chazon Ish writes about these people. There are certain people, they have fake bitachon. They go around saying, I have trust in Hashem, everything that Hashem does is for the best. And really, deep down, they don't have a real trust in Hashem. And he tells a story, a parable of such a person. Well, first he says it's very easy to have bitachon, to have trust in Hashem when everything is going well. When your business is going well, when you're healthy, when everything's going right with your family, it's very easy to have trust in Hashem. He says the real test of if a person has trust in Hashem is when things start going difficult. Does he have that same menuchas hanefesh? Does he have that same confidence that Hashem is running the world when things aren't going the way he wants, or things aren't going the way he desires? And a person shouldn't necessarily feel, this is just an addendum, a person shouldn't necessarily feel depressed if he's going through a huge a very difficult situation, and he feels nervous and anxious, and he says, "Oh, look at me! I've been working on bitachon for so long, and look how I feel." Because bitachon is a lifelong process. I think it was a discipler. He said that just because you get nervous about a certain thing, a very intense, difficult experience happening in your life, that doesn't necessarily mean you're not bitachon. That just means you haven't gotten to that level of bitachon that's required for such a serious thing, right? Maybe you got to like level 8 bitachon, and this SAR is like a level 12, and you're just not ready for it yet. That's shaykh, because our whole lives are a process in gaining bitachon. But here he talks about the fellow who just says he has bitachon but doesn't really have it. I'm going to summarize it because the Chazon Ish's language. If you haven't learned the Chazon Ish, they have like 3 editions now in English, and it's not that long. It's really fantastic. He doesn't need my skama obviously, but just something fantastic and very inspirational that we all can gain from. The Hebrew actually is very difficult. It's very like poetic and stuff. But he says about this guy, let's see a fellow, his name's Ruvain. He always tells people about bitachon, about having trust in Hashem. It's always on his lips. He's singing the milas, the positive traits of bitachon. He says, why do people work so hard and go after the parnaso? Why do they have to commute into the city every day, work long hours? Just have trust in Hashem. And that's what he goes around saying all the time. He says, but his business is going well, his family's doing well, everything's fine, and he always tells people, just have bitachon, why are you working so hard? Have bitachon. But what happens, let's say he has a store, and somebody opens up next to him, and he starts thinking in his mind, all of a sudden, wait a minute, this guy is going to compete with me, I'm not going to have so much business. All of a sudden, his bitachon, his trust in Hashem starts, or what he thought was his bitachon, it starts to slip away. In his mind, he thinks of different ways that he can undercut his competitor. But he's so embarrassed, he's not going to tell people that he really doesn't have trust in Hashem because things became a little bit difficult. He's not going to tell people that. He'd be super embarrassed. He's been going around for years talking about how great it is to have bitachon. So what does he do? Eventually, though, it starts eating away at him and gnawing at him. This guy's taking away his business. He's not making as much money as he used to. So he starts complaining to people a little bit. He doesn't want to do it in the open. He starts complaining to people a little bit. This guy did. He opened up a store next to me. He really shouldn't have done that. It was against the halacha. Whether it is against the halacha, whether it's not against the halacha. And he starts, pretty soon, he's not embarrassed at all to tell people how he feels. So he starts publicly lambasting the guy and embarrassing him. How dare he open a store next to me? And he starts thinking of all types of ways to defeat him and to make him go out of business. And pretty soon you have a full-fledged machlekes, because you have those people that are always waiting to join in any fight, whether it has to do with them or not. So now you have these people who join in. And now we see Ruvain, who a year ago was telling everyone about the milas of Habitachon, how great it is to have trust in Hashem. All of a sudden he's doing the exact opposite of what he professed on his lips all of those years. The Chazon Ish is getting at that it's very dangerous to have fake bitachon, fake trust in Hashem. That's what the Chovos Havavos is saying here. Hashem knows how we really feel, right? And having true trust in Hashem, Hashem knows whether we really have trust in Hashem. Now, this shouldn't make us depressed. This is just a recognition that bitachon is a lifelong process. We shouldn't feel like, I'm 25 years old, I'm in yeshiva, I've been working on bitachon for like 8 years already, and I don't have enough bitachon. Yeah, okay. It's really a lifelong process, and it doesn't happen overnight. So we shouldn't feel bad about it, but we should also recognize where we are. We're not necessarily at the madrega of the stipler, where when we get sick, we're not going to go to a doctor and get medicine, right? Well, maybe you are. I'm not. Maybe some people here are. A very holy group here. Okay, so that's what he says about fake bitachon. I just want to conclude with the last pasuk that he says. According to my Rosh Yeshiva, this is the biggest problem in the Jewish world, in the Orthodox Jewish world. This last pasuk, v'tiv u'visvasav kibduni v'libo richak mimenu. That with its mouth and with its lips, this people has honored me, with its heart it has distance from me. He says, we are very observant nowadays, but we're not very religious anymore. Meaning that we are very good at the external mitzvos. We're very good on going to shul. We're very good at sitting in the sukkah, doing all the things that we have to. But where we need work is on our insides. He wanted to start a movement called Inner Judaism. But you see, this is not a new problem. Pasuk was written by Isaiah, so that was 2,500 years ago, about, maybe more. This is not a new problem for the Jewish people. But if we don't have the inner Judaism, if we don't have what it really means, Yiddishkeit really means, then we have a hollow shell, and Judaism becomes bland, and it's bad, and we become what's the word?
Robots?
It's a great word. What? Complacent, but
oh.
No, the worst when you make fun of things. Less, but in English.
Yeah.
Mockery.
No, it's a great word. Yeah, there's okay, whatever it is. As soon as I finish, I'll think of the word. I did go to Malvin High School, so we learned English. That's not the reason. But but you become Judaism isn't real. It becomes a joke. So we need to work on the meaning of the mitzvahs and what it really means. For example, so again, this is not something we can do overnight. But what I think we could do is little by little. We're about to bench, right? So when we bench, we could think about what we're doing. Just think about the words. That's all. Very simple. It's hard, actually. It sounds simple, but it's actually very difficult because most of us have no attention spans. But if, for example, when we bench, if we just think of the words in the first bracha, what they mean. When we daven, we just think of what the first bracha of Shemona Esrei means. When we make a bracha, we think about what it means. We say Baruch. Baruch doesn't mean blessed. People think it means blessed, like Hashem should bless us. Nefesh Chaim says it's not what it means. Baruch means that Hashem should have a connection with this world. We want Hashem to be more involved in the world. Ata, you, means I'm speaking to somebody. Hashem is not some distant deity that I have no relationship with. I speak to Hashem like I'm speaking to you now. Now Hashem, we say Hashem's name, that He is eternal, and that He's master of everything, Elokeinu, that He gives reward and punishment. And we say Melech HaOlam, that the whole world is going to a purpose where Hashem will be recognized as the king, and the whole world will recognize that. So you have in every blessing that we make, 100 blessings a day, probably more, you have all of the foundational principles of Judaism, that Hashem is involved with the world, that we have a relationship with Him, that He's eternal, that He's one, that the world is going to a purpose. So if we just take a minute to think about these things, little by little, right? You take all we have to do is take one thing a day where we think about what we're doing. That's all. When we sit and learn Torah, think for 5 seconds before I'm learning Torah. That's Hashem's will for creation, and that's what I'm studying right now. That's an amazing thing. So with that, and especially on Sukkot is a special siyata d'shmaya. This special is extra spirituality in the air that we can tap into to get closer to Hashem. Thank you for Rabbi Braun for the bagels and donuts, and Mazel Tov on the siyum. Shaar.